We start with some breaking political news.
Yes, we do. After much speculation about her future in Washington, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has just officially said she will not be running again for office. Here's part of Pelosi's announcement just posted.
I say to my colleagues in the House all the time, no matter what title they have bestowed upon me, Speaker, Leader, Whip, there has been no greater honor for me than to stand on the House floor and say, I speak for the people of San Francisco. I have truly loved serving as your voice in Congress, and I've always honored the song of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, the anthem of our city. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power. We have made history, we have made progress, we have always led the way. And now we must continue to do so by remaining full participants in our democracy and fighting for the American ideals we hold dear. In doing so, we ensure that our city shines on as a beacon of hope, justice, and peace for the country and for generations to come.
This means Pelosi will bring to a close more than 3 decades on Capitol Hill and end one of the most influential careers in the history of American politics.
Absolutely.
Pelosi made history in 2007 when she became the first and so far only woman to serve as Speaker of the House. With today's announcement, Pelosi will leave office when her current term ends on January 3rd, 2027. Mika Pelosi, 85 years old. She is someone who is legend doesn't begin to cover it.
It really doesn't.
Particularly as first House Speaker, and then the way she sort of embodied Democratic resistance during President Trump's first term in office.
And on that in a moment, but Speaker of the House twice. And this is a woman who entered the political arena in her 40s after having 5 kids and drew so much of her accomplishments, and what guided her to what fights to take on was her faith. Was constantly going back to her faith and how that would drive her forward. And she and her family, along with her, by her side, have given so much in all of her years of service, Joe.
Yeah, and Mika, obviously, you've known the Speaker a long time, loved her. I've known the Speaker a long time, loved her, worked with her back in Congress, actually, every year. She was a liberal from San Francisco. I was a conservative from Northwest Florida. But every year we would come together and we would fight for the human rights in China, religious liberty and religious freedom in China. We would fight to bring attention to the fact that Americans were having their intellectual property stolen by the Chinese year in and year out. And fought against a lot of huge forces that, of course, massive multinational corporations based in America that wanted to get into the Chinese market and really couldn't give a damn about human rights, really couldn't give a damn about religious liberties, religious freedom, really couldn't give a damn about American intellectual property rights being stolen by the Chinese every year. But Nancy Pelosi did. And she fought hard for that, and I loved working with her on that. Of course, in 2007, Mika, as John Lemire said, she became the first woman Speaker of the House. And I must say, it is so hilarious, these Republicans running around carping about DEI, DEI. Yeah, nobody ever said that about Nancy Pelosi, and I'll tell you why, because Nancy Pelosi was a hell of a lot better counting votes as Speaker of the House than anybody I ever saw. All the men added together I ever saw. Bills didn't get on the floor unless they were going to pass. And there's still a lot of talk about the Affordable Care Act, about Obamacare. It's Nancy Pelosi that got that over the finish line. She was just extraordinary in every way. You talked about her family. I know we were there with her in the Speaker's office before she got sworn in 2017. And she had tremendous faith. And she doesn't talk about it a whole lot, but she was talking a great deal about her faith on that day. And then she showed me a picture of her father and smiled and told a story. And I said, wow, what an incredible day. I bet you wish he were here to see me. Without thinking twice, I wish he was here to see what you're doing today. Without thinking twice, the Speaker put down the picture and said, he is. My father's always with me. And she said, and I'm going to be with him one day. I mean, again, it's a faith that brokered no dissent. She believes, she's a believer, she's a strong Catholic, and it's that faith that's helped her get through a lot of really tough times, Mika, with her husband being brutalized, many on the other side mocking and ridiculing him, spreading lies and rumors about him, so many in the mainstream of the Republican Party and in these right-wing media echo chambers, laughing, mocking, ridiculing her husband being brutalized in their home. The President of the United States mocking her, being brutalized, her husband being brutalized in his home. But it's her faith that has gotten her through all of that. And it's that strength
what she called the marble ceiling in 2007, then led Democrats back to the majority during Donald Trump's first term, took the gavel back for a second time, famously and proudly became Trump's chief antagonist. Now, Sarah, Pelosi prepared a pretty highly produced video. It was a love letter to San Francisco.
I have truly loved serving as your voice in Congress, and I've always honored the song of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, the anthem of our city. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power.
And know your power, that is a classic Pelosiism. Sarah, there was some surprise that when Pelosi passed the baton to Hakeem Jeffries after they lost the majority, that she decided to stay in Congress and become a rank-and-file member. But we all know she was never a rank-and-file member. She continued to raise millions of dollars for her party, including the redistricting ballot measure that sailed through in California on Tuesday. And if you think about it, Pelosi was front and center in every major policy battle over the last quarter century. She opposed the Iraq War pretty aggressively. She helped save the global economy during the financial collapse of 2008. And she pushed through Obamacare when it seemed like that wasn't going to happen. Sarah, she really is a truly singular figure in American politics.
I mean, she surely is. You know, she was the first female Speaker of the House, and she did it twice. Talk to us about just some of the big things and ceilings that Nancy Pelosi broke.
Well, let's just, start with what she did as a woman when she came to Congress in 1987. She came as a mother of five who just, said goodbye to her youngest daughter as she went off to college. And there weren't very many women in Congress then. And if you kind of look at what Congress looks like now, mostly Democrats, but a lot of female Republicans as well. There are more of them. They are younger. They are having babies while serving in Congress. That was anathema to Pelosi and people in her generation when they came into Congress. And she talked so often about being the only woman in the room for so many years. And she has said many times in many different ways that what she strives to do is not just be powerful, but to show women that they can have a voice. And, at the beginning, it's pretty clear that that was just who she was. But after a while, when she saw what kind of effect it was having, it's been intentional.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really big moment in politics, never mind for the Democratic Party, but because she was so powerful, because she could wrangle her colleagues so well, she also became quite the devil to Republicans because she was able to do the job so well. But that is sort of on the national stage. What impact are you seeing now on her city that she has been, and state that she has been representing? You see it in this love letter to San Francisco. What is this going to mean for those constituents?
Well, look, I mean, the video that she released, we just played a portion of it. It's like 6 minutes long, and it starts, "Dear San Francisco," with a shot of the Golden Gate Bridge. And she talks pretty extensively about her love for her adopted home city. She's really the daughter of Baltimore. She is the daughter of the former mayor of Baltimore. Her father was a member of Congress. She learned about Congress walking through the halls with her dad, who represented Baltimore. But when she got married to Paul Pelosi, they did move to San Francisco. And she talks about fighting HIV/AIDS. One of her first, maybe the first speech that she gave on the House floor when she came in 1987 was about the AIDS epidemic. She talks about the fact that she helped bring a lot of money back. She's unabashed about that. And, even on global policy, China, since there is a huge Chinese American population in San Francisco, she was one of the first to say, no, we don't trust this Chinese regime. And she did it in large part because she had experience in representing people who came from China and really understood what was going on there. But I do want to go back to one of the points you just made, Sarah. The way that Pelosi understood the Democratic caucus was like really nothing any politician has done or those who served with her have seen on either side of the aisle. She understood where everybody was, what they represented, what they could give based on what their constituents needed, what they couldn't give, and she was able to corral the caucus, hold them together in a way that was kind of remarkable, especially when it was contrasting at the time with the Tea Party rise in the GOP, and the Republican speakers there just couldn't do it. It was a very important part, and is a very important part of her legacy as a speaker, before that as a leader of the Democratic Party. But today, because this is the end of an era of her representing San Francisco for nearly 40 years, that's where she wanted to have her focus.
Right. Joining us now to discuss all of this, Republican strategist Malik Abdul and CNN political commentator and Democratic strategist Maria Cardona. Maria, I'm going to start with you. Just your reaction to hearing that Nancy Pelosi will no longer be a member of Congress soon, and the ramifications of all that.
When I just heard this news, Sarah, first of all, it's not that surprising, but it certainly is disappointing just from the standpoint of what a legendary icon she has been, not just to the Democratic Party, but the country in general. And Dana talked about all of the history behind her role as being the first woman Speaker of the House. The way she wielded her power, her incisive, strategic, tactical mind, her empathy, her class, her dignity, her elegance is something that will be admired for years to come, but it will be never matched. And so I think just across the country, there are people waking up to this groundbreaking news, but at the same time, she has given so much of her life to this country, to public service, that you can't help but think this woman deserves to spend her golden years however she wants. And Sarah, that even though she might not be serving in Congress, she will always wield the power that she knows she has, that others know that she has, Democrats across the country, and I think Republicans as well. She's always been good at working across the aisle, especially in times when that was more of a normal thing. But she will continue to be someone whose advice is sought, regardless of whether she's not in public life anymore. And that will always be to the good and to the benefit of the American people. I wish her the best. I love her. I have had the honor and the pleasure of working with her on many projects. And we are a country that is better for her service. We will miss her, and we wish her the best.
Maria, thank you for your thoughts. She's 85 years old and still quite sharp as a tack, and was involved in this recent, movement in California to try and change the
Absolutely.
redistricting. She's involved still quite a bit, so you would expect that she might still be involved because this has been her life's work. But to you, Malik, look, Republicans have no love loss for Nancy Pelosi. She has been sort of the devil, the boogeyman that they have pointed to for many different things that they didn't like about Democratic policies. What now with her leaving?
Well, I think that Republicans, well, first of all, Nancy Pelosi, first, congratulations that she's decided to retire. I have to give her credit for being able to wield the gavel in a way that really did push the Democratic Party. I think part of the challenge now for the Democrats is that you no longer have a Nancy Pelosi in a Hakeem Jeffries. Many people in the Democratic Party are upset with Hakeem Jeffries' leadership, which really leaves a lot to be desired. So when you go from a Nancy Pelosi to a Hakeem Jeffries, I think that probably speaks to the problems that the Democratic Party is having now. But Republicans will always choose, if it's not Nancy Pelosi, we're going to choose another boogeyman, because that's simply what happens in politics. So I don't think that Republicans will back away from any criticism of the Democratic Party, particularly because of what we're seeing happen around the country, like in places in New York City.
The emperor of illusions. If the first Trump presidency was chaos, the second is theater. Power isn't exercised, it's performed. His empire isn't built on laws or policies, but on moments, viral videos, dramatic headlines, and emotional clips that keep the crowd watching. He's turned the government into a stage where every briefing is a scene, every speech a script, every crisis a storyline. He knows that facts can be challenged, but feelings can't. That's why he speaks in emotion, not evidence. He doesn't convince. He performs. And in an era where attention is currency, performance is power. The problem is that illusions demand constant upkeep. When the crowd begins to doubt, the show must escalate. 1 week, it's an AI video. The next, it's a military threat, then a trade war. Spectacle replaces substance until even the presidency becomes an episode-to-episode survival act. Behind the smoke and lights, governance decays. Institutions grow weaker, staff rotate faster, and experts are sidelined for loyalists who clap on cue. Truth becomes something negotiated between belief and entertainment. You can't argue with followers who no longer care what's true, only what feels dramatic. Trump didn't invent this dynamic, he perfected it. He understood earlier than anyone that modern politics isn't about facts, it's about feeds. As long as his name trends, he wins. And the more outrageous the illusion, the stronger the connection with his base. They don't see manipulation. They see mythology. They see a man who fights back against invisible enemies on their behalf. But illusions have one fatal flaw. They collapse when reality bites back. Tariffs hurt businesses. Military threats scare investors. AI videos amuse the base, but embarrass the nation. Slowly, the line between show and shame blurs. The emperor may keep changing costumes, but the empire beneath him is wearing thin. In the end, history won't remember the spectacle's shine, but the silence it left behind. The hollow institutions, the eroded trust, the country that mistook applause for achievement. Trump may see himself as the star of the story, but someday the lights will go out, and the world will remember that even emperors can be naked.